Today, we're diving into a case that has haunted Hollywood for well over 75 years. It's a story that's got it all: ambition, a truly brutal crime, and a mystery that honestly just seems to get deeper and deeper the more time passes. This is the anatomy of the Black Dahlia case. It's a great question. What is it, really, that takes an unsolved murder and turns it into, well, a legend? Is it the victim, the sheer brutality of the crime, or is it that haunting feeling that the answer is right there, just out of reach, lost to time? Well, the Black Dahlia case has all of that, and then some. So, I want you to picture the scene. It's post-war Los Angeles, a city that is just buzzing with this incredible energy, full of promise and the dream of fame. But on one chilly winter morning, a discovery would cast a very dark shadow over the city of angels, a shadow that has never, ever truly lifted. And this is where our story really begins. Not in some dark alley late at night, but in a public park, in broad daylight. This is the moment a crime became a public spectacle, and really, the beginning of an American obsession.
And the details here are just genuinely chilling. A local resident, a woman named Betty Berginger, is just out for a morning walk with her little girl. She sees something pale and kind of disjointed in the tall grass. Her first thought, oh, it's just a broken mannequin somebody threw out. But as she gets closer, she realizes the horrifying truth.
Before she became known as the Black Dahlia, and that was a nickname the press came up with, she was a person. She had a story, she had dreams. So who exactly was the young woman at the heart of this whole tragedy? Elizabeth Short was, like so many others back then, drawn to California by the incredible lure of the silver screen. She came all the way from Massachusetts, worked whatever odd jobs she could find, bounced between apartments, just navigating that really complex Hollywood scene, always hoping for her big break. This quote, it's from one of her letters home, and it is just filled with this kind of powerful, youthful optimism that makes her fate feel all the more devastating, doesn't it? She was absolutely convinced her dream was just around the corner. But that dream was about to become an American nightmare. When the police got to the scene, they knew almost immediately they weren't just dealing with a murder. No, they were confronting something that felt more like a bizarre performance, an impossible puzzle left for them to solve. This was not a crime of passion. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Her body hadn't just been dumped. It had been placed. It was arranged. It was put on display. Every single detail felt intentional, and it absolutely baffled even the most seasoned detectives on the force. And each clue just raised more questions. The way her body was cut in half suggested some kind of medical knowledge. The fact that it had been drained of blood and then posed, it all pointed to a killer who was methodical, patient. But the biggest clue, the one that changes everything, is that there was no blood, not a single drop. That meant she was killed somewhere else, her body cleaned, and then transported to the park. I mean, the sheer risk involved in that is just staggering. And that's the question, isn't it? This is what takes the case from a terrible homicide and turns it into this enduring enigma. The precision, the posing, the public display, it all felt like a statement. But the meaning of that statement, it's been completely lost, leaving just a whole lot of questions behind. So, as you can imagine, this discovery kicked off one of the biggest manhunts in the history of Los Angeles. But almost right away, the investigation was completely swamped by the very attention that it was creating. The newspapers went into a total frenzy, printing these sensational headlines, and a lot of the time, just totally unverified rumors. And this wasn't just, noise. Reporters were actively compromising the investigation. They were contaminating potential evidence. They were withholding information from the police to get a scoop. Police phone lines were so flooded that any genuine tips were just buried. The killer wasn't just being hunted, they were being turned into a legend in real time. And that media circus got so out of control, get this, over 50 people walked into police stations and confessed to the murder. 50! And every single one of those false confessions had to be investigated and disproven, which wasted just countless hours and resources. You can see how it played out. I mean, there were moments that seemed promising. The killer actually mailed a package with Elizabeth's personal belongings to a newspaper, basically taunting the police. But every single lead, every suspect, it all just led to a dead end. By 1949, even a grand jury had to basically admit the investigation was so compromised that the case was effectively cold. So that brings us back to the really big question.
Decades have gone by, there are thousands of unsolved crimes out there, so why do we remember this one so vividly? Why does it endure?
Well, it really is a perfect storm of mystery. You have this tragic victim, a young, beautiful woman chasing a dream. You have a crime scene that's filled with all this baffling, gruesome symbolism. And it's all set against the backdrop of Hollywood's golden age. It's a true story that reads like it was written for the movies. And really, it's these questions that are why we're still talking about it. The where is a physical mystery. The why is a deep psychological one. And the fact that the killer sent messages and then just went silent, that might be the most unsettling part of it all. It's a story that has no final chapter.
Ultimately, the Black Dahlia case has become a modern myth. It's a cautionary tale about the darkness that can hide right underneath the glamour of a city that was literally built on dreams. And we're just left to wonder, in a case that is built entirely on shadows and speculation, is finding the truth even possible?